Hi, I'm Andrew Little with Century 21 Millennium, and this is our team's mortgage partner, David Grossman. Welcome. Thank you for coming today.
Thanks for having me, Andrew.
Good. So David is a mortgage broker that's been licensed for 20 years and also does a lot of great in our community with live events and networking events for businesses. We initially met when you were first looking for a home up here in Wasaga Beach. You actually ended up buying in the same neighborhood as us, so we're neighbors.
Yes.
And again, thank you for coming and talking a little bit about yourself and your business.
My pleasure. Thanks very much for having me here, Andrew.
So why don't we start with just telling a little bit about your business and potentially why a client would choose to use yourself as a mortgage broker versus a traditional bank.
Sure. Well, like you said, I've been licensed as a mortgage agent and a broker for about 20 years now. I have a business degree and I worked in high tech for a number of years, but eventually I decided to become self-employed, and I thought mortgages is something that I would feel comfortable with. I like the idea of being able to be in control of my own business. So that's how I got into mortgages. And as far as why somebody would want to use a mortgage broker as compared with a bank, I think the number one reason for that is that as mortgage brokers, we can choose many different lenders, including banks, trust companies, credit unions, to work with. And typically we get paid by the institution. They will pay us to help originate business for them, so there's no cost to the borrowers. We'll know where to get the best rates and the best products. And also, if somebody doesn't qualify for a mortgage at the bank, we will, without delay, know what the next best option is. And there was an example in my business a number of years ago that happened where somebody went to get pre-qualified at a bank, and depending on who you talk to at the bank, it could be hit and miss, right? The person they were speaking with didn't know that much about mortgages and told them, yes, no problem, you're pre-qualified, go ahead and make your purchase. So they did so, and that was on a weekend. And then Monday the person was on holiday, Tuesday they were in meetings, and the week went on like that. And by Thursday afternoon, the bank finally got back to the borrower and said, no, we're sorry, you don't qualify, because they didn't collect the right documents and didn't look at the documents properly to realize that the person was actually self-employed. And when you're self-employed, you can still get a mortgage, but the lenders are looking for different things. So I got a call on Thursday evening, and by Friday afternoon, we had a mortgage approval from what we'll call one of our alternative lenders. And the borrower had to pay a little bit higher rate, but they were fine with it because they ended up converting this downtown property into 3 units. It was actually 3 stories, and they lived in one of the units and rented out 2 of the others. In fact, I was alluding to it before, was this article here. It's a little bit older. This is from 2007. This was actually an article in the National Post Homes. Show me the money. That's me together with the client building a deck of cards, a house of cards, right? And so it was great. It was a great article. Talked about the benefits of using a mortgage broker for your mortgage needs. So that gives you some background, the benefits to do. Somebody who's in it full time, and somebody who has choices.
Flexibility,
right?
different options. That's
exactly.
Great. And then it transitions nicely into a little bit about your pre-approval process and maybe how quick that is, or how, I know everything's not going to be a 24-hour panic situation like that, but what would your pre-approval process look like for a new client?
Sure. So basically what people need to know if they're thinking about buying a property is there's basically 3 things that people need to keep in mind. So lenders are looking for, number 1, income. So, if you are employed, and hopefully you are, and you have a source of income if you're looking to buy a property, and you're on a salary, lenders want to see job letter, pay stub. They may ask to see your tax returns and notice of assessment. So make sure you're always filing your taxes on time and get those done. The second thing lenders are looking for are down payment. In Canada, you need to have at least 5 to 10% down. depending on the price point. And lenders want to know where that money's coming from, and they'll want to see proof.
Yeah.
So if it's from your savings, they'll want to see a 3-month history. If it's gifted or it's borrowed, that can be okay, but they'll want to know the terms of the loan if it's being borrowed. A lot of people nowadays, because prices are as high as they are in real estate, sometimes they're getting help from family members, and that's okay too. A down payment can be gifted, but the lender will want to actually see a gift letter, and if it's a large gift, they'll actually want to see the money coming out of the donor's bank account, because there's a lot of rules and regulations against money laundering and different things. So sometimes people say, why do they need to know? What's the difference? I've got the down payment. Well, those are some of the requirements. And the third thing is credit. You'll need to have some established credit. And typically what lenders are looking for is at least a couple of trade lines. A trade line is a line of credit or a car loan or a credit card with a 2-year history. So if you don't have that, you should go out and get those things. It's not hard to get a credit card. Obviously you want to make sure you pay it down promptly when those bills come in, and don't get like some very expensive car loans.
Right.
You may be better off just buying a used car for cash if you can, because sometimes people come to me and they've got like $1,000 a month car loan, and they don't have a lot of income and they want to be pre-qualified for a mortgage. And it's best to do all these things before you start the process of looking for a house, because you don't want to fall in love with the house and then you're going to be disappointed. And if you are pre-approved and you have a solid pre-approval, you'll be in a stronger negotiating position to move on that property. If you find something you like, find something that's a good deal, working with yourself or with
makes
your
my
wife.
life easier.
Exactly.
For sure.
Right.
Very good. Do you need to get their pre-approval so we can take them out to start looking for houses with some confidence? How long does that process usually take if they're organized and ready to go?
Well, it doesn't take long at all. I mean, we can often have somebody pre-approved within 1 or 2 days. Oftentimes I can have a quick conversation on the phone with them and just, roughly know, is there sufficient income, down payment, is this going to work? Do they have some established credit? I mean, it's always a good idea to run the numbers just to be sure, and we can always approach our lenders too in order to get a rate hold in place, which is most valuable in a rising interest rate environment, right? So right now rates are coming down, so a rate hold is not as valuable, but it also gives people the confidence that an underwriter has laid eyes on the file too. The typical thing we recommend is that people will buy with a financing condition, right? Usually 5-day financing condition, but recently and during the COVID market, things were so super hot that you had to go in firm if you were going to have any chance of getting the property, which makes it even more important to make sure that you were pre-approved, that you were working with a mortgage broker who looked at everything and put you in a position to be able to make a firm offer.
And as a realtor, I always look for that, or the reassurance that you've had that pre-approval done before.
Exactly.
Anything. I don't want to put you at risk.
Well, exactly. And then some people, are confident that everything's fine, but you might find an error on the credit report. The last thing you want to be doing is, scrambling to figure out why there's a mistake, because the lender says, well, it looks like you've got this on your report, why is it there? And maybe it doesn't even belong to you. Sometimes files can be crossed. Somebody has a common name or something like that.
Just takes time to clean it up.
Right.
You don't have the time.
Exactly. So it's important to get pre-approved, make sure your ducks are in a row, what you're going to qualify for, and also what you're comfortable spending, right? Because we can qualify somebody maybe up here, but doesn't mean they're going to be comfortable with that monthly payment. So it's got to fit in with somebody's lifestyle and goals. They can, work with you and your wife Elena and go out and buy that property with confidence.
And I preface the question by saying if they're organized, because I often see, well, yeah, we've got a call with our mortgage broker on Monday, and then you check in on Tuesday, on Wednesday. Yeah, we're just trying to find our tax return. We're trying to get everything submitted.
Exactly. It's important to know they have all their ducks in a row.
Yes.
Yeah.
Get organized and give David Grossman a call.
Thank you. Thanks, Andrew.
Yes. Yeah. So recent years we've seen the market climb and very low interest rates, and then we've seen the market come back down with the increase in rates over the recent year and a half. We're now in a hold period, but how can you see those new rates affecting the market as we kind of get in and people come up for renewal?
Well, I think there's some optimism in the air right now because finally it looks like the higher rates that have been in place are starting to impact inflation. And inflation is starting to come back down. In fact, recently inflation came back down more than it was expected.
Yeah.
So fixed rates have started to come down considerably. So at the moment, we actually have one lender with fixed 5-year rate under 5%, which we haven't seen in a long time.
Yeah.
So it's a considerable drop. And hopefully the Bank of Canada will start reducing their overnight rate in the new year, which affects variable rates. So before you know it, people might want to start getting back on the variable rate.
It's been scary for a while.
It's been scary for a while when you borrow money at 1.5% and then it goes up to 6 or higher. Right now, variable rates are even higher than that. So it's been shocking for many people, but we are expecting rates to come down.
Yeah.
So, but there's no one right solution for every borrower. Every borrower has different comfort level with risk. You know, they might want to lock into a certain rate just to know that they can make that payment and they're comfortable with it, then take that payment. Otherwise, if you go variable or very short term, let's say 1 or 2 year term, you're paying a higher rate. You're hoping that rates come down, which they might, but if they don't,
they go the other way.
Soon you could be stuck. Every borrower, we try and find the right solution for their needs.
Very good. And this is more for my personal interest, but you see a lot of realtors online, social media. It was marry the house, take the rate.
Right, yeah.
Whereas in America, you can kind of break those mortgage products easier, was my understanding, or
yeah, well,
it's a little different.
I mean, variable rate mortgages you can pay off with just a 3 month interest penalty.
Yeah.
To get out of a fixed rate mortgage depends on which way rates are going.
Yeah.
Right. So again, you know, we got to look at every borrower what their long-term plan is.
Yeah.
You know, because if they if they think it's just a temporary, they want to buy a house and maybe move up to a bigger house if their equity grows in a few years, then they don't have to worry too much about breaking the mortgage because most mortgages can be moved to another property. Right. But maybe they think, oh, well, I might want to move out of the country. There could be employment opportunities.
Yeah.
And so in that case, you don't want to be locking into a long-term rate if you think you might be moving out of the country.
There'll just be large penalties at the end of that if
you could get stuck. Yeah. So you got to keep in your time horizon.
So aside from a new client looking for a new mortgage product, you have services available for people anywhere in their home ownership journey. Can you tell us a little bit more about some of the other services or ways you get involved with people's mortgages?
Sure, absolutely. So after buying that initial property, people come back to us sometimes because they want to buy a second property. Okay. So how do they do that? Well, they might take equity out of their property. You know, we've had the benefit of amazing price appreciation in Canada. So if there's equity in the property, you can potentially take some of that equity out and buy additional rental properties. Yeah. Some people, buy many properties this way. Some people, maybe you run into a challenge in life. We're all human. There's job loss, sickness, different things can happen. Yeah. People might need additional funds to service other debts that they have. They may need to pay off credit cards.
Yeah. And certainly with the recent rate increases, it's going to be coming up for people in the future when they need to renew.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
So, people always need to shop around on renewal, make sure they get the best deal, because there are lenders out there now who are pricing their renewal rates very aggressively, or actually they call it a switch or a transfer. So if your mortgage comes up for renewal with one lender, you might, you should always at least shop around. Make sure you're getting the best deal. And then there's reverse mortgages for people who are retired and maybe they don't have the income that they once had, but they need to access equity. They might want to give an adult child a gift to help them purchase a property down the street, as a way to get your kids to come up to Wasaga Beach and live with them, as if you can help them with the down payment. So there's many reasons that people may need to access equity or borrow money, and if it makes sense, we can definitely help people in all situations.
That's great. Good to know everyone's taken care of all the way through their process, right?
Absolutely. We all love repeat customers, right? They say it's many times harder to find a new client and to work with an existing client, because there's a trust factor there. And so absolutely, we take good care of our existing clients, make sure everybody's happy, and try to keep those lifelong relationships when we can.
Yeah, very good. Now, your business is very aptly named Rock Your Mortgage, and that's related to your lifestyle outside of the mortgage business. You do mention some live music events and some good other social events throughout Wasaga Beach. Can you tell us a little bit about that community?
Sure. Well, it's all about balance in life, right? What they say, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy, right? So, when we work with one side of our brain, I don't remember if it was the right or the left, but mortgages are very analytical work. And I've always enjoyed playing music. So I organize these music nights here in town, open mics. Often it's a great way to meet people. People come out to enjoy live music. It's a way to attract other musicians and expand my network, make new friends. This month in Wasaga Beach, every Saturday night, organizing a music night at Georgian Family Circle Restaurant. Recently took over by new owners, exactly, and they want to make it kind of hip and fun on Saturday nights. They would typically close up by 8, so now from 8 to 11 they have live music in what they call, the GC Lounge, right? The Georgian Circle Lounge. And we brought in a number of people last couple weeks and different musicians. And we're planning a special open mic on December the 30th, where I wanted to, in advance of Wasaga Beach's 50th birthday, which is happening next year, 2024. Want to try and get in 50 guitar players to come and play, a simple song by CCR. I can't remember which song, but I saw this video on YouTube this morning, right? Similar idea, right? So this was a video on YouTube, and there were like, I don't know, maybe hundreds for sure of people sitting there with the guitars playing this song. Have you ever seen The Rain? Simple tune. So, in advance of Wasaga Beach's 50th birthday party, I thought, okay, let's see if we can get 50 people out with their guitars. I will donate for everybody who comes in. I'm going to donate $5 per person. We'll go to the local food bank.
Oh, that's nice.
Right? So tie in a little bit of charity and have some fun to think about Wasaga Beach's 50th birthday party.
So that's certainly a great way to stay involved with the community, and we definitely appreciate all the involvement that you do to grow our community here in Wasaga Beach. So at the end of our videos, we like to ask just a couple rapid quick-fire questions, short answers off the cuff to get some insight from your years of experience.
Sure.
I guess initially, being in the finance industry, are there any movies or TV shows related to the topic that would be one of your favorites?
Movies or TV shows? Well, let's see. There was a very good movie about the financial crisis that occurred in the U.S. a few years back. I can't remember the name of it right now. That was very
The Big
good.
Short.
The Big Short, yeah, that was a great movie. It was interesting to see how some of the insiders can have so much influence
Yeah.
and really make a mess of things out of greed.
And that was the mortgage market as well, right?
That was the mortgage market.
Yeah.
So I think the lesson being that no matter how exciting things seem, you've got to follow your instincts and just put one foot in front of the other when it comes to real estate or anything in life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Again, related to business or finance, personal development, are there any books you would recommend you read?
Well, books, I would say, I remember, I think it was Seven Habits of Highly Effective People.
Yeah.
Great book. Again, it's the basics, relationships are key. There's no shortcuts.
Right.
No shortcuts in life and in business,
It's all relationships in our industry.
Relationships are key. Just learn and be committed.
Yeah.
Be committed to something. If people are in it to make a quick dollar, forget it, because there's always going to be ups and downs. So, you gotta make a plan and you gotta stick with it and you gotta be in it for the long run.
Very good. Now, you've been blessed with some musical talents. If you could add one different talent to your repertoire, what would it be?
One different talent to my repertoire. Wow, that's a good question. One different talent. Oh, okay. It would be the ability to remember the music, because right now when I perform, I always have the sheets in front of me,
right.
And I feel that is holding me back to a degree. And if I was able to see the music and then remember it, then it would enhance the visual part of the performance if I wasn't always staring into the music sheets.
Right.
Yes.
Well, I was telling a story to Elena when we were together with family the other day. I learned electric guitar, but I've never been musically inclined. So I learned to play a few songs just because I knew the songs, but I can't read music or I can't.
Right.
I'm not blessed in that way.
Right. Well, listen, it's about having fun.
Yeah. It was
and
fun.
Unwinding. So whether you're playing an instrument or whether you're just listening to music or watching movies or whatever it is we always need to have some balance in life, right?
Well, that was a brief moment in life where I maybe wanted to join a punk band. So that was what that was.
Okay, there you go. Well,
Didn't work out that way.
Right.
And then I guess getting a little bit deeper, last question, the single best piece of advice you've ever been given?
Well, that's a tough question. Single best piece of advice that I've ever been given. I don't remember what it was, but I would say that, as I mentioned earlier, it's about sticking with things. You see people sometimes they do a little bit of this and then they do a little bit of that.
Yeah.
And if you stick with something, pick something that you want to do and decide that you're going to master it.
Yeah.
You cannot fail if you decide that you're going to learn something, stick to it, and do whatever it takes to be successful. And keep on learning. Mm-hmm. Keep on learning, because even once you think that you know everything, you don't, because things are always changing, no matter what field. Yeah. So continual learning is a very good lesson.
Yeah, when I first got into real estate, there's a podcast called the Rookie Mindset Podcast, and he was 10, 20 years into the business, but he just said, keep a rookie mindset, always be open to learning.
That's right.
That's right.
Yeah. Things are always changing. Always have to learn new skills.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much for your time today. It's been great to sit down with you and tell our clients a little bit about why we've chosen to partner together, and I look forward to sending business your way this year, knowing clients are well taken care of throughout their whole journey, and
well, thank you very much, Andrew. I appreciate the opportunity, and I know that people will be very well served if they contact you as well for their real estate needs. So appreciate the opportunity, and
thank you.
Happy New Year.
You as well.
Thank you.